Hey, I'm Ethan,
And I'm Isaac.
and this is All Things Video, a podcast that covers everything you need to know about leveraging video content for your business.
Join us as we discuss the latest tools, trends, and tactics in video marketing.
Let's get started.
Hey, and welcome back, guys, to the All Things Video podcast. We're so glad you decided to use some of your valuable time to learn about all things video. We've been super encouraged just with seeing the listenership and the viewership of this show going up a little bit. We appreciate you guys listening. We put a lot of work into this, and we truly believe that it is providing value to you guys. And we just wanted to say thank you again for tuning in every 2 weeks to listen to a new episode. And Ethan, I just had a question for you, and I just thought of, and I was thinking, if you were starting ground zero, brand new business, you have zero marketing dollars, you have $0 to put into video production, what would you do to get your company out there so people know about you with no budget?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if you have no money to put towards marketing, you are forced to use, what people refer to as guerrilla marketing tactics. It's just bootstrapping, boots on the ground, doing all the work yourself. And so specifically speaking to the video side of things, I mean, there are tons of social media tools that are completely free to use that are ways that you can get in front of people and build followings. So if it was me starting something brand new and I had no money, it would probably look like posting 5 to 10 pieces of content every day on social media, probably just choosing one or two of the platforms to really dive deep on, learn the ins and outs of it, how it works, and start growing a following there of your target market. Literally just pulling out your iPhone and filming video content every day, multiple times to get the word out about what you're doing. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that with Instagram Reels and TikTok, there is so much power to get whatever the video is out there so quickly. Like, I mean, if you use
Even
those
with
hashtags correctly,
brand new accounts on Instagram, you can post a reel and get 20,000 views sometimes.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can up your viewership super fast. So I think I would go a similar route, just creating video content, probably following some specific trends that are popular at the time to kind of be able to use those hashtags and get it pushed by the algorithm. And the great thing is you can do this with whatever business it is. If you're a plumber, you can make videos about plumbing, common problems you see every day or whatever it is.
Yep.
Or a clothing boutique. Like, you can do that with basically any kind of business. And that actually segues really well into today's topic, which is what videos do I need for my business? So there are tons of different videos you can make, right? Yep. So we kind of wanted to list these out in order of importance, right?
Yeah.
If you can only do one of these at a time, what videos are you going to want to make first?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. We went back and forth a little bit before we hit record and just trying to figure out what is the top priority, because it could differ slightly depending on the type of business. But I think where we landed is, out of all the different types of videos you can create, if you can only do one, the first one you should make is just what people would call a promotional video or a commercial, something that you can put on social media, maybe put some ad spend behind, put on your website. It should be no longer than it needs to be to keep people's attention. It should clearly communicate your product or service, what problems you're solving for your customers, and really put a lot of emphasis on your customers, not on yourself as the brand.
Yeah, and I mean, that first video is just really about initial discovery, right? You want people to know about your brand, the problem you're solving, and who you're serving.
Yeah, marketing is all about attention. You got to get in front of people, capture their attention, and make them aware of who you are and what you do. There's a lot of ways to do that. You can get really creative with it, or it can be a simple iPhone video if you don't have much budget. But we think that that's probably where you would need to start, some sort of commercial. And ideally putting some ad spend behind it on platforms like Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, to get awareness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where would you go from there, Isaac?
I think customer testimonials would be next. They are incredibly powerful for your company. It's one thing to write on your website how you are the hero for your client base, but it's a total different ballgame when you have an actual customer who's extremely happy about your product or service that is telling everyone else about how awesome your brand is. That hits completely different.
it just means 10 times more when someone else is saying good things about your brand rather than you saying it about your brand. And from what we've seen, customers for our business and multiple of our clients' businesses are very willing to do this. They typically think it's kind of cool actually to be on camera and to come either to our studio or to the client's location and film a quick testimonial. And we've seen a lot of benefit from that on our own website and for our clients.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe we actually have a blog on the Sleek Fire Learning Center about how to ask people for video testimonials.
Yep, that's correct.
And that will be linked in the show notes and description below.
Yep. So starting off with some sort of promotional video or commercial for your brand. Secondly, customer testimonials. From there, there's kind of a lot of different ways you could go. One thing that comes to mind is a lot of times we'll create explainer videos. This works really well if you have a product or service that's a little bit more complex or complicated. Not so much for the plumber example you brought up earlier. You know, everyone knows what plumbers do.
Right.
You don't really need to explain that service too much. But you think of some of our other customers in, you know, the cybersecurity landscape or SaaS, you know, software as a service. Sometimes those are complex and a little more difficult to understand. So it really is an art form to take a really complex topic and boil it down to, you know, 60 to 120 seconds and make it really easy to understand.
Absolutely.
So depending on what type of business you have, you may or may not need an explainer video. After that, though, after considering that, where would you go from there, Isaac?
I would personally suggest a company story video. These are really great once your customer base already knows who you are and they want to know more about your company and how you guys got started. This can really help to kind of add a face to the brand too, so people actually know there's real people that care about their customers. They hear this story, and it's just a really good way to add some emotion and personability to your company. Yeah,
and we talk about all the time on this podcast, like, you can't make yourself the hero. So most of your video content shouldn't be focused on you. It should be completely focused on your customers. However, once you have that awareness, like you said, sometimes people want to dig a little bit deeper. And this is an opportunity for you to establish yourself as an authority. You know, you can talk about how you've been in business for 50 years and how your great-great-grandfather started the business after he emigrated to the United States or whatever. You know, people do like those details at times. It just should not be the very first thing that people see of your brand. From there, just looking down this list we have here, I mean, there's tons of things you can do with video, right? Like
it's endless.
The opportunities are really endless. But a few other things we wrote down were like educational videos. Sometimes whether for internal training or for public education, you know, putting out series of videos, explaining things. It could be, you know, again, if you have a product that maybe is a little more complex, let's make an educational series talking through how to use it, steps 1 through 10. You know, this could be endless as well. Like just the idea of communicating useful and informative content to help people understand ideas.
Yeah, and that's just taking your customer service one step further. It could be a maintenance video, it could be a how-to video, or whatever it is. But instead of people going to YouTube and searching for someone else's video, they can find your video on your website.
Yeah, we've also had customers who offer maybe consulting as a service, but then they decide, hey, instead of you hiring me and paying all this money for consulting, for a cheaper option, I'm actually going to put together this online course. So, you know, maybe it's 10 grand for the consulting or 500 for the course. So that way it adds an additional stream of revenue to the business. And we would then come in and help them curate and create all of that content for an online course. Another type of content we recommend a lot is just branded video content. Isaac, can you explain what we mean by branded videos?
Yeah, I think an example that a lot of people could recognize is like the Coca-Cola commercials you see around Christmas time with the polar bears. And you kind of watch the whole thing, and it's just this really like kind of emotionally engaging video that shares some positive message, and then you don't really even know who's producing the video. So like it'll be,
a lot of times it doesn't even show the product or service, right?
Or,
till the end.
or maybe until the end. So it'll be like this cute story that a lot of people connect with. It kind of fosters a deeper connection with your audience. And then at the end, it's just like Coca-Cola, enjoy, or whatever it is. it can be a really good way to, again, add more personality to your brand, and you can actually highlight your brand's core values and what you care about as a company through kind of a more cinematic and using more storytelling to kind of foster that deeper relationship with your audience.
Yep. You really want to connect with people on an emotional level so that they can trust you, right? So they know, like, this company isn't just out to get my money. They're actually sharing values with me, sharing emotions with me, sharing stories with me that resonate. And ultimately, all of that does lead to more connection and ultimately more sales for your brand.
And it's also a really good way to, again, not position yourself as the hero, because it's not the entire commercial or branded video isn't about the company. It just has the company's name at the end. So it's a really good way to, again, establish yourself as who your company is and what you guys care about without being super salesy like a commercial.
Yeah, one example that comes to mind that we did last year was a beer commercial that I think we mentioned on a past episode, but very little product placement in that, right? Like, the whole concept was about, like, pickup football, bonfires, pickup trucks, like the fall spirit, the autumn spirit, and just seeing people enjoy that type of lifestyle. Young people who are in the business's target market. And at the very end, you know, obviously we do have a little bit more of the product placement and a call to action and the logo at the end. But that type of content is really exciting. Like, we always get super pumped when we can do that kind of stuff, because it's typically more cinematic and story driven than your typical commercial would be. So it's a lot of fun. After all of those videos, something that's really important, I think, is to have a consistent strategy for posting content on your social media channels. And so, like, monthly social media content, creating videos on like a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly basis, I think is really, really important. It's one thing to create a commercial and post it once, and then it just kind of gets lost in people's news feeds. But to consistently stay top of mind, it's important to be regularly creating content.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important. I mean, a lot of people think you can post once a month, but that's not enough if you really want to grow a following on social media platforms. And just kind of jumping into the next one, we wanted to talk about internal communication videos. Ethan, I think this would be a really good one for you to talk about, because you are the kind of founder and visionary of the video company we both work at, and you use internal communication videos quite a bit. So would you like to talk about kind of what those are and how you use them?
Yeah, and actually the whole next episode, we're going to be talking through ideas and ways you can think outside the box with video, and we'll go really deep in this topic there. But just a high level, internal communications videos, there's a lot you can do to use video content to communicate better internally as a team, as a company, to share ideas, share feedback with each other, and to be more efficient. So, you know, we use a software called Loom that allows us to record ourselves on our laptops or record our screens or do both simultaneously along with audio. So rather than jumping into the conference room for a quick meeting, a lot of times you can just record your screen, share your ideas or your thoughts or the project you're working on, and send it out to your whole team. It's a lot more efficient. You know, nobody wants more meetings in their life. Like, we try to keep meetings as minimal as possible. So lots you can do with internal communications. Another thing that we do often is, like, our leadership team will just send out encouragement or updates on the vision or the direction or the milestones we're pursuing. So the whole team can be on the same page. And I think everyone really appreciates getting those messages from the leadership team on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And a really important area of internal communication videos is onboarding. If you're a company that consistently, or even not super consistently, onboards new employees, it can save you hours and hours. Like, take your employee handbook and then simmer that down to a 10 to 20 minute video. And you can get a new hire and say, hey, watch this video, instead of having them read through this huge handbook that realistically they're probably not going to pay very much attention to.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So I think we covered all of the different types of videos that we make on a regular basis typically, or that we see on a regular basis. I think this is a helpful conversation just to think through. If you're a business that's just getting started with video, we know it can be overwhelming. There's so many different directions you can go. But I think if you follow kind of the roadmap we laid out here, you will have a really successful approach to your digital marketing and your video marketing.
As always, thanks so much for hanging out with us and learning about all things video. We appreciate you guys, and we're thankful that you're here. We will catch you guys in the next episode.
All Things Video is a podcast produced by Sleekfire. Sleekfire is a video production company based in St. John's, Michigan. For more information, visit sleekfire.io and make sure to check out our blog for a large collection of helpful resources.